Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today the 10th round of Chess Olympiad was held in Budapest, and Team USA played against Team India. And on the first board we had a very interesting game and very tense battle. At the end of this round, Team India won very closely against Team US. But let's see what happened on the first board, which was played between Fabiano Caruana and Gukesh, the one who's going to play the World Championship match in November against Ding Liren. Whether he will win this or not, I think he's the youngest player in World Championship match. He is only 17 years old, and that is very impressive. Anyway, let's dive into the game. So as you can see, Gukesh is playing as white. His rating is 2764, and Fabi is playing as black. His rating is 2798. So just 2 points below 2800. Gukesh started with d4. Fabi replied with knight f6, c4, e6, g3, d5. Here we have Catalan variation, Catalan opening. So bishop g2, knight c6, and okay, here knight c6 is not a popular move in this opening. Black usually either takes on c4 or bishop e7, but in this game, Fabi decided to go for a less popular move like knight c6. Gukesh played knight f3. Fabi played rook b8. Rook b8 is kind of typical in Catalan, since the bishop is covering this diagonal, but playing rook b8 right now was a little bit tricky, and I'm sure that Fabi prep this at home, since he didn't spend much time on these moves, as you can see from the clocks. Okay, so c takes d5, bishop b4 check, knight c3, e takes d5, white played bishop g5, black played h6, and bishop takes f6. Notice that if white wants to play bishop h4, the bishop can get trapped since the pawn is on g3. So that's why white exchanged the knight, and then white castled. Now white unpinned this knight, so he wants to take the pawn on d5. Black took the knight, pawn took here, and white castled. Black castled, sorry. White played knight d2. The idea behind knight d2 is to attack the pawn on d5. Black played knight e7. Computer doesn't like knight e7 that much. Computer suggests this move bishop e6 to protect the pawn and, you know, to connect the rooks. But I don't think knight e7 can lose, you know, in this position. Gukesh played e3 in this position. Black played bishop e6, queen a4, attacking the pawn, a6, and white played e4. So as you can see in this position, white has more space, and that's why white is slightly better. So black played c5, attacking the center, queen a3. Notice that if white takes on c5, he can black can take the pawn on c3. That's why it's better to keep the pawns here. Here, white played queen a3. The reason he played here, because now if black wants to take, we can play e5 first. And now after queen takes e5, we can take the knight on e7. Notice that the queen is protecting here. And if the queen wants to go to g5, we can just play f4 or knight f3. And this queen has to move, and then white can take the knight on e7. Okay, so let's go back. Here after queen a3, Fabi played b6. Gukesh played rook a b1, rook f e8, d takes c, d4, c4. Computer doesn't like this move that much. Computer suggests this move rook takes b6. But as you can see, we just had like 18 moves so far, and players already have less than half an hour. So they should play at least 22 moves in 26 minutes, which is about like 1 minute and a half each move, since they will get a 30 seconds bonus on each move. So they need to play, you know, much faster now. So black played d4, white played c4, queen g5, rook d1, b takes c5, f4, queen h5, f5. f5 was a great move, creating a threat against the bishop and also blocking the queen from defending the pawn on c5. Notice that white is attacking this pawn as well. And also after f5, white gains more space. So black took the rook on b1. If black plays something like bishop d7, white can simply take the pawn, or white can play knight f3 with the idea to take the pawn, and also knight e5. So that's why rook takes b1 was a better option, since after rook takes b1, the knight on d2 will be unprotected. And black went for a counterattack. So instead of defending the bishop on e6, he played queen e2 to attack the knight. Here, white took the bishop, queen takes d2, pawn takes f7 check, king takes f7, and queen c5. King g8. Notice that the king is really exposed on f7, so black wants to make sure that the king moves to a safer square. So king g8, white played rook f1. Rook f1 was okay, but a better move, according to computer, was to push the pawn to h4. And the point is, if black checks here, we can play king h2. And on h2, white's king is really safe, since the only piece that can check the king from h2 is the knight. And if the knight gets to g4, yes, that is a check. But the point is, it's a really, you know, long journey for the knight to get to g4, right? So white played here rook f1. Black played king h7, queen e5, pinning the knight. Black played queen e3 check, king h1, and d3. Bishop h3, d2, bishop g4, controlling this square. And black played queen d3, attacking the rook. King g2, queen takes c4, a4. And this position is about equal now, but both players are in time trouble, especially white. Gukesh has only 2 minutes. So here, Fabi played queen c6, but I think he could take on a4, but probably he didn't like this move, rook f7. But after rook g8, let's say queen takes, queen, rook takes, bishop checks, here, bishop checks. And here, white can go for perpetual, and this is a draw. Notice that if the king goes here, white can also check in this square. So queen f8, king h7, and then bishop f5. Rook g6, queen f7, and white should repeat the position. Of course, white cannot take the rook, because if we take the rook, white can just go for a checkmate, for example. Sorry, black can go for a checkmate. Black can just check on c2, right? So white should just go for a perpetual check. Anyway, let's go back. So after queen c6, white played queen d4, queen g6. Okay, this was a bad move on move number 34. So before this move, you see that we have an equal position, and here black has a couple of options. The best move is probably to play knight g6 to plant the knight on e5, or to move the king to h8, because after knight here, white might play bishop f5 to pin the knight, but then black can play queen c2. And now we want to push the pawn and go for a discover check. So that's why this was a better try for black. But black played queen g6, attacking the bishop. And here, Gukesh, a very talented player, found this move rook f4 in less than a minute. Right? Because he had like 138 and now he's got 51. Yes, it's about 1 minute, right? And the point here is that we are protecting our bishop, and this idea to move the knight is no longer good, because we're gonna take, and if he takes here, if he takes here, we can pin the queen, right? And white is simply up a pawn, and white wants to go bishop f5. So white's got a bishop versus a knight, which is a better endgame. So here, if let's say instead of rook f4, if let's say white moves the bishop back to d1, then black can play this move. And after queen d2, now black can take the pawn on e4, and black is fine in this position. So notice that this move rook f1 was really important for white. Otherwise, white could just lose all the advantage in just one move. So kudos to Gukesh, who found this move, rook f4, a great move. Here, Fabi played queen g5, which was another mistake on his part. A better move here, according to computer, is either to play h5 or pushing the pawn to d1. But okay, who wants to sacrifice the pawn who's on the 7th rank, right? And or h5 to expose the king. So that's why Fabi played queen g5. And here, Gukesh found another great move, h4. So by now, you see that the evaluation bar shows 3.81 for white, and this is absolutely winning for white. So black played here, queen takes d2. We got to the same endgame that I explained earlier. Black played rook b8. White played queen d7, attacking the knight. Black played h5. Notice that if black moves the knight away from e7, then white can pin the queen, since the knight is covering this square. So that's why black pushed the pawn to attack the bishop. Bishop moved to e6, rook b6, bishop f7. If we take here, black can also take here. That's why white played bishop f7, queen d6, queen takes, rook takes. Another great move. And then he played bishop takes h5. And okay, here white is up 2 pawns. So white is in a better shape. Knight c6. If black plays rook d4 to attack the pawn on a4, then white can play bishop e8. Okay, so black played knight c6 here. White played bishop e2, a5, bishop b5, knight e5, rook f5, attacking the knight, rook e6, king f2. And here, Gukesh won the game and Fabi resigned because there was no chance for black in this position since white is up 2 pawns and white's got a bishop versus knight. So a big congratulations to Team India who beat Team USA 2.5, 1.5. And Gukesh and Arjun are really playing well in this Chess Olympiad 2024 in Budapest. They are killing it. They are, they are going for the second and the third spot in the rating list. So they are close to past 2800 barrier, and I don't think any player from India except the legendary Vishwanathan Anand passed 2800 before. I might be wrong, so tell me if this is correct or not. But anyway, so this was a crucial match, and tomorrow we are going to have the last round of this year Chess Olympiad. I should also admit that I missed playing in Olympiad. I played in 10 Olympiad from 2000, but unfortunately I missed a couple of Olympiads recently, but hopefully next time in 2 years I can play. And thank you very much guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Have a great day or night wherever you are in this big world, and I'll see you soon in the next one. Take care.